Conversations that shape the Ummah. You are now listening to Special Interview. IKIM FM, inspirasi utama anda. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And a very good afternoon to all dear listeners of IKIM FM. Welcome to the special interview. I'm your host, Batusha Afrina. Alhamdulillah, thank you very much for listening to us from wherever you are. Either you are listening to this through radio or even through our social media pages, Facebook and YouTube. So for this episode of Special Interview, we are going to listen to the second part of last week's conversation with Dr. Abdul Latiff Mohd Ibrahim, the Head of Research at International Institute of Advanced Islamic Studies, IAIS Malaysia, on the conversation, Iran versus Israel, their war or ours too.
Now, coming back to our main topic about the attack by Israel on Iran, okay? Now, I was talking about the insecurity which Israel was feeling, okay?
Okay.
So, when Iran develops this nuclear technology, it cannot accept it. It's the only country in that region that is developing nuclear. Before this, Iraq too had its nuclear program, under Saddam Hussein at that time.
Yes.
In 1981, they attacked the Osirak, close to Baghdad, and destroyed the nuclear reactor which was functioning because Iraq was developing nuclear technology. And of course, at that time, Iraq was one of the frontline states against Israel. Okay, but they destroyed Iraq. I think it's a very long story. We know about the Gulf War. We know about how they created, how America created the excuse to go in and invade Iraq and destroy the country. Now it's in a terrible state. This is what now is the situation with Iran as well. Now, what they want is for Israel, they cannot have any state which may have a military advantage over itself. Okay. Because that will be
challenge for them.
Very threatening. Yes. Because it's always in the state of in an insecure state. So, and what Israel wants is all the neighboring countries, including Iran, to be weak, militarily very weak, so that it will be the sole military power in the entire region, and whatever that it may want to do, it should be able to do unhindered. Okay. It will not be challenged. This is the thing. Yes.
But then for the US itself, what benefit do they get from it, from attacking Iran? For the US itself, what benefits do they get from it actually? For Israel, we don't understand because of the insecurity. But United States under Trump administration, well, this is something that I think we should further discuss, because I remember that in Trump's presidential winning, a part, I would say, main factor that contributed to his winning about where he promised to bring peace to the Middle East. So what happened here?
Yeah. You see, Trump, if you would have seen ever since he took office earlier this year, okay, he's been doing a lot of things, whether domestically or internationally. His foreign policy or his domestic policies has always been full of controversies. Yes. And of course, you do not know when it is going to settle, because he might say, in fact, I read so many of these commentaries about the way he does his job. You don't take him seriously, because before he finishes his cup of coffee, he might change his decision 3 times. So you know how he works. Yeah. What he believes in is disruptive politics, and his approach is disruptive. But from the disruption that he creates, he wants something to come out of it that will benefit either him personally or the United States. This is what he wants, some benefit for himself or for the United States. It is so he likes to do this, to create. Let it be. yes, he talks about peace, of course. You see, even in the case of Ukraine-Russia war now, and you can see that he's taken America out of the Ukraine-Russia war theater. Practically, he doesn't want U.S. involvement at all in that.
Yeah.
Unlike his predecessors, were the most dominant participants of the war. But he's taken out America from the situation, this theater. He doesn't want involvement. He doesn't want to supply Ukraine with weapons and whatever intelligence, whatever in its fight against Russia. He doesn't want that. So it's a different kind of thing. And in the case of the Middle East, if you remember, when he first came, he stressed that he wanted it to stop immediately, and it is stopped. It did, but Israel is different from Ukraine. It is different.
Okay.
Israel, we know Israel controls the U.S. administration. We don't just talk about Trump, but you have to talk about the entire administration.
Okay.
Who are the people around Trump?
Lobby behind them.
Okay. The Zionist lobby is too strong, including Trump. His victory was made possible by the Zionist lobby. He has to do something. He has to help out
To please them.
To please them. So even though he may think about a different set of solutions to the Palestinian-Israeli thing and all that, but eventually it is Israel that decides what it wants, and it gets its way. It gets its way. Of course, they just to make it look like as if it's like a face-saving kind of thing for Trump. Also, sometimes like the case of Iran when after Israel attacked on the 13th of June, and it was followed by Iran retaliating, and then they traded missiles and they traded bombs and things like that. Trump came in at the end of the episode with a bombing of 3 nuclear sites.
Yes.
When he bombed that thing, he said stop. So he wanted he actually it is to show that he's still in
the war.
He's still in command. I'm still the one who says,
the final say
what the final say is with me, despite this thing, and I have what I have to do. But of course there are a lot of interpretations, because during the skirmishes that were going on between Israel and Iran, it was, of course, there was quite substantial damage which occurred also in Israel, because the missiles that were sent by Iran, it did hit some of the strategic targets, and it did cause quite substantial damage to infrastructure and buildings and things like that. And for Israel, that is not something that is acceptable, neither or good, because its so-called invincibility was broken, shattered.
Yeah.
So this is something that it didn't want, So it happened, but it happened, and maybe what Trump did was stop this thing, so as to maybe to save Israel, because you see, Israel would have in a case of, we are not talking about in the case of Gaza. In the case of Gaza, it is not a war at all. I don't know.
It's a
the
chance.
media, even our local media, says the war in Gaza. There's no war in Gaza.
It's not a war.
It is an Israeli onslaught, barbaric onslaught on the defenseless people of Gaza. It is just, they are looking for, they say, the Palestinian resistance fighters, Hamas and all that. That's not a war. That is, you're going after a group of people.
Yes.
You're not fighting an army. There's no army in Gaza.
Yeah.
But when you talk about Iran, you're fighting against a country. Now, when it comes to country, Israel as a country fighting against another country, Israel will not last a long time. It wants a quick victory. So if it doesn't happen within 12 days, 10 days, at the most 2 weeks, if it doesn't achieve the objectives which it set out to, you better stop. And that's what it wanted.
That's what
Now, who's
happened.
going to stop? Israel will not stop. How can Israel stop when it is in the... Because it would be bad for
For
Netanyahu,
Yes.
because his people will say, you chickened out, you lost the war.
Yeah.
So same thing with this side. Iran will not stop; it will continue. But Iran has the resilience. If you go back in the 1980s, for 8 years it could, despite the same situation with sanctions, it could face an imposed war. What difference does it make now? So it can go for 8 years.
They're used to it.
They're used to it, but not Israel. So who is going to save Israel? So Daddy comes to the rescue. So that is
Okay.
why Daddy had to do something.
So there's like the final stop. Stop it, and then of course, and that's why we can see that Trump is very eager with the ceasefire. In fact, when Israel were quite at the initial of the idea of ceasefire, we could see that Israel seems like quite reluctant to it. But then I still remember there's a famous interview where Trump was on his way to NATO summit, if I'm not mistaken, and there's a short scene where Trump seems very mad with Israel. So I think it's because of that, saying that I'm sure that at the initial, even in fact in the initial of the attack, United States seems like not aware of Israel's attack towards Iranian, and I'm pretty sure that they know how significant the attack is, because in the initial of the introduction just now I mentioned that this is actually in fact something that I just found out before this interview, that actually that Iran and US was in the middle, I would say, in negotiation about the nuclear program. So why would United States want to restart for what Israel wants? So it is something that involving multiple of players into it. And you talk about just now about, I would say, the way Israel showing I would say the strength, the army strength to the public is actually a facade. Because if you look at on the internet, right, we can see there are a lot of videos people posted on TikTok's video of missiles coming from Iran, and then you can see that it's hitting the Iron Dome. But looking at that, actually few of the missiles actually can pass through Iron Dome, and it seems like Iron Dome is not as strongful as how they trying to portray how strong it is, and it gives, I would say, a very bad impression towards the Israel itself. And going further into that, how do you see that this, I would say, shattering facade, this shattering image of actually that not the United States, the Israel's strength, their strength itself, in the future, how do you see that it's going to impact their next military or war operations for Israel?
Okay, quite a number of questions there, but I would like to touch on you were talking about how the missiles could go through the Iron Dome. I think when Israel built the so-called Iron Dome strategy, it was to actually, initially, it was to prevent the rockets which were fired by Hamas from Gaza.
Specific for Gaza.
It was specific.
Gaza.
It was specific for that. So you can know the rockets from Gaza are not the types which Iran shot. It's totally different. Totally different. In terms of its firepower and whatnot, it is totally different. Now, they didn't expect that, and they didn't expect that Iran had such advanced missiles. because Iran has got several sets of missiles.
Okay.
What do you call that? Those short distance, mid distance, and of course the long, long distance missiles. You know, I mean, so they've got so many.
They're very well equipped.
They have all those kind of missiles, and I think. Yeah, despite their, the ability to come up with all kinds of strategies and this and that, there's still a chink in the armor. So they must have not really, given this aspect enough attention. So that is why they didn't expect the hypersonic missiles to go through the defense system and hit Tel Aviv, Haifa, and the other places which they hit. All right. So and of course it was a barrage. It was not single missile.
Multiple.
One or two. It was a whole barrage of missiles coming in at so many times.
Yes.
So the Iron Dome couldn't replenish in time to face the
upcoming
incoming missiles. So they got hit. Okay, that's not the focus of what I want to say. But I would like to say that so I would like to come back to that. Why Israel didn't want this to drag on for too long, because it would not be able to sustain. It will not be able to sustain. It's not like facing going to Gaza.
Yeah.
Gaza is a one-way street for as far as Israel is concerned. It is killing all the civilians, killing the women, it's killing the children, babies and things. The most cowardly and most shameful things, the kind of thing that you could ever do is to kill women and children. It's most shameful.
Yeah.
I mean, you dare not face the resistance and fight with them. You are going after all these kind of defenseless, vulnerable population.
Yes.
So I mean, it's nothing to shout about. And it's just committing genocide, pure genocide. That's
genocide.
all. So, but in the case of Iran, you are not going to. If they were to send an army to go in, I think they will know how it would be like. I would not think they would go in like that. Iran is a huge landmass. It's not like what it is in a strip like Gaza.
Yes.
It is a huge landmass which it is not going to be easy at all for them to even go in. So this is something which I think, if you are talking about what would it do later, maybe how is it going to? Yeah, they will do something. They will try to, because even in the latest attack on Iran, they had already prepared for a very long time. You might be asking me also, why did it happen on 13th of June?
Yes.
It had to happen. And that is why it also answers the question, why did Israel attack when the negotiations between the US and Iran were going on for the nuclear program?
Yes.
Okay. They was about to meet on Sunday, but they attacked just prior to the 3 days before.
Yeah, 3 days, 2 or 3 days before.
Before the meeting was supposed to take place in Oman. Now, the reason is because they were already, the time was already ripe for them to launch their attack on Iran. They felt that let the nuclear, in their mind, let the nuclear thing go on.
Okay.
It might go on, and if it stalls, it is, even if it stalls, if it doesn't succeed, it's got nothing to do with Israel. If it is successful, also Israel is not going to change its position vis-a-vis the nuclear program of Iran.
No matter what.
They had the JCPOA before this. Did Israel stop its propaganda of saying that, no, you must attack Iran? No, it continued. No. It was telling the US, you have to attack Iran. The JCPOA was already in force. But still, Israel was demanding that the U.S. attack. At that time, of course, it was under Obama, and later on, Trump came to power, and then
Yes.
Trump tore up the JCPOA, and then came back again to Biden, and after Biden, now with Trump again, it is not this is not anything of consequence to Israel.
already
You know,
planning
it
it.
doesn't matter whether you sit and you talk and you succeed or you fail. It's nothing to do with them. In Israel's ideological frame, they just want to destroy any military advantage that another country might have. In this case, Iran. It should never be able to be better than Israel in terms of its military technology. Coming back, of course, to this feeling of insecurity. So,
Because their very existence is fragile. So that's why they always feel insecure
Yeah.
about their own existence, in fact. And going further into that, if Israel have its own deity, so in here, Iran has its own allies too. So, but then something that I would find it weird because of how China and Russia responds to it. Because of course, China and Russia, right, two of Iran's key allies, appear at the early of the war, appear to reluctant to support Iran militarily, because in fact, within the first 24 hours, if I'm not mistaken, of the conflict, China called for ceasefire. So why are these allies not taking a stronger stance in Iran's favor?
I think it is like this. Actually, these two powers, Russia and China, they are aligned with Iran. They do support Iran's position vis-a-vis the conflict that is going on. And of course, we all know that Russia and America, China and America too have their, the rivalry is there. Is common knowledge, okay?
Yeah.
Now, if to say that China called for the ceasefire, of course, I think any country would do it. You should stop. I mean, there should not be war. I mean, it's just a general call
response to it.
to stop war and negotiate, stop anything that, because if the war were to continue, it could lead to widening the conflict. Not just it's going to be Israel and Iran. If America comes in, Russia may come in. I mean, other powers will come in.
Yes.
Of course, then you have the other groups of resistance and things like that from Yemen and from Lebanon and so the whole place will be, the conflict will spread to more regions and it will become wider and it will become even worse. And in fact, some analysts feel that it might lead to the Third World War. It might lead to a world war. It might lead to a world war because of the nature of the conflict. So to prevent that, of course, you should call for a ceasefire. I think that's just something which is quite natural that which should be we should take into account. Now, the other thing is, of course, these two powers, Russia and China, are, of course, they know what the situation is, and of course they support the position. Russia openly supported Iran because Iran's nuclear facilities were attacked unprovoked. Okay, Israel, with no provocation, attacked, which is under international law a crime.
Yes.
I mean, you just go to a country, you think, oh, they are doing something wrong. I have the authority to go and bomb and attack that country. No, you cannot do that.
No.
I mean, if that is then where are the laws, international laws, rules and norms and things like that?
Yes.
I mean, and this is not it's not acceptable. It cannot be condoned. Okay, so that that is the basis for this thing. So we have to understand this, that the attack by Israel was of course unprovoked, and it was just because of its insecurity, because of its policy of always going to war, constant war. Constant war is the way by which Israel will ensure its survival. That's my observation. I do not know. This is the first time I'm talking about it. If it is in a state of constant war with somebody around the region and things like that, it will survive. The moment it is not at war, it will, because that insecurity is there.
Yes.
So the war will make sure that it will get military aid. Of course, then America will pump in billions and billions of dollars of weapons and bombs and everything, continue to supply.
Yes.
If there's no war, America will slow the process of supplying the weapons, you see. So and also the Europeans as well, not just the Americans. Germany is supplying so many weapons. Even at this point of time when the genocide is going on, even UK, is supplying weapons. They're all supplying weapons. Why? Because that is how they make sure that they want the regime to survive.
Okay.
Now, that's the situation as it is.
And talking about that, furthering into that, there's also reports a few hours before Iran launching attack to, if I'm not mistaken, to the United States base in Qatar, right? Al Ubaid, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
In Al Ubaid base, some people reported online that Iran even warned earlier. Give warn early to the United States that they are about to bomb, that they are about to attack the airbase. So, which is for me as someone who are not familiar with this militarily, with this all this political tactic, I don't understand why do they give early warnings to the United States that they're about to bomb. Of course, if you look at it, Trump after the attack proudly mentioned that from the 13 missiles, if I'm not mistaken, only one were let down, things like that. 12 did not pass. So, and then it show how successful the operations are. Well, we know that it's because Iran gave warning early. But then I would like to know the reasons behind of why they do it.
Oh, okay. That's another interesting question. You see, Iran was fighting Israel, not America.
No, United States.
Remember that America only came into the picture at the end when it bombed the three nuclear sites. Okay, the three places, that is Fordo, I think the other was Natanz and Isfahan.
Yes.
So these three, and the manner in which it bombed these three places, especially Fordo, it did hit, but it came too late because it appears that the Iranians had already shifted their uranium stockpile and things like that. Whatever it was already successfully removed from that. Of course, there was damage. Not to say that there was no damage, but we do not know the extent of damage. Nobody knows because only the Iranians know how much it has. Because satellite pictures you can see the difference. Okay, fine. Now, Iran did not want a war with US directly. They did not want to start another front for a long period. Okay, so when this happened, and remember, immediately after the bombing of these three sites, Trump declared there's going to be ceasefire, and we have destroyed. It's over.
Let's start. Okay.
Let's not go for any. Right. So now, how should Iran react? So Iran doesn't go into the war. But Iran needs something to show that it is not going to take this sitting down. So it launched the missile to in Qatar. Was it Qatar? I think it was.
Qatar, yes.
Yes, in Qatar. All right. Now, Qatar is a friendly nation to Iran.
Okay.
So it didn't want to have any problem with that relationship also. So it just made a cosmetic kind of attack,
Okay.
saying that it had to do it. It did it, and it didn't cause any damage. Okay, no lives were lost or anything like that in the attack on the base, and it informed the Americans because it wanted to say that we can hit you. We can hit you, but we are not going to do it. We hit you now,
It just
but
like warning like that.
it's just like don't drag this further.
Ah.
Don't drag this further.
Okay.
We will show you that we can reach you, but we are not going to do it. That was the message. They wanted to give a message, and so the Americans also know that they didn't want to prolong it. Trump said, "Okay, that's done. There's a ceasefire, done." So I think that was why they informed earlier. In fact, they informed that they were going to do it.
Yes.
So, because they did not have the intention of war with the U.S.
Okay. And same goes to they don't want to any damage to Qatar actually.
Yes,
Just
no damage to
it's
Qatar
more into warning.
because Qatar is a friendly nation. They're able to use. I mean, Qatar's role as a mediator in conflict is quite established, and people know that it has been working, to bring peace
Yes.
and do away with conflict, and this is something which is good, which the Qataris are doing. Yes.
Okay. As we are reaching, I would say, the final segment of this interview, I would like to know actually from the for the Iran themselves, what do they actually gain from it? The benefit that they gain from this war actually.
Actually, to say that what did they benefit? They didn't benefit. They could have been. Yes, you could look at when you go to war. War is not something that any country wants. Actually,
Obviously.
Iran didn't want this war.
Yes.
Iran didn't want this war. They didn't want anything. I think Iran is a peaceful nation. It wants peace, but unfortunately, things happen in the way that it has happened. All right, now. To say the benefits, not the benefit of this thing was it was able to gauge the strength of the Israeli response, the strength of the Israelis when in an actual conflict, in an open conflict situation, they were able to gauge, and it would have helped them to strategize for future. You can't say, maybe when the next round of conflict will come again.
Yes.
You see, as far as Israel is concerned, my personal thinking is this is not going to be the one-off kind of thing. Israel will do something to, you see, besides, it's not actually so much on the nuclear issue alone. I mean, to destroy the nuclear and this, they also want to get rid of the Iranian government, the government of Iran as today, the Islamist government, and replace it with another government which will be
their puppet.
Their puppet and will be pro-West. Now, what the current government of Iran is like now? It is an independent government. It's always the slogan is neither East nor West. That's their slogan.
I see.
They are an independent nation based on the principles which they follow the Islamic Republic's ideology, and they don't. They are not pro here or there, but due to the fact that the West as a whole has made Iran an adversary instead of making it a friend, Iran has got no choice. It has to look for friends. So it is closer to the so-called Eastern Bloc like Russia and also China.
Yes.
But I think Iran wants to be friendly with every other nation. But the problem is with what has the geopolitics of the thing is like that. So that's what I would say.
They're forcing them to be in the position where they are right now.
Yeah.
And going further into that, because another part of the reasons if I'm not mistaken, right during the early of the conflict, when of course the very base of the argument of why Israel wants to attack Iran, they said that because of Iran has the capabilities, it has the equipment to create nuclear bomb. But then from their intelligence, from the United States intelligence itself, confirm that that actually there's no such thing as that Tehran does not has any intention. In fact, Tehran themselves confirm that they have no intention in trying to develop this nuclear bomb through the uranium enrichment facilities, right? And people, as you mentioned earlier in the conversation, that they're very transparent about that. But also there's also issue where they when talk about the uranium itself, right, in the uranium enrichment facilities, if I'm not mistaken, there's something about in the early they agreed that they about the purities, something about the purities of the uranium, right? That it cannot exceed, if I'm not mistaken, 6%. So if Iran said that they want to use the uranium for civilian use purposes, so it cannot be exceed 6%. And then, if I'm not mistaken, recently Iran has raised that. That percent as much as high to 60%, which is if 90%, then it can be considered as a weapon grade. So the action of Iran itself increasing the purity, does it give us any warning about what may Iran might want to bring its uranium program in the future?
It's as to the enrichment of that uranium thing. Okay, I'm not an expert on the technical side, so I can't talk about uranium enrichment because that's not my background either. Okay, but just to look at it from the perspective of the geopolitics of this thing, I think for me, as far as the anything to do with the enrichment part of it and the development of the nuclear technology, you have to go to the authorities who monitor. Now, as you were just mentioning, even the United States intelligence community came up with a statement that Iran is not developing a nuclear bomb. They had no intelligence to that aspect. Whether it's flawed or not flawed, this is secondary. But as far as they were, the official statement made by the director of the intelligence was no. But Trump just dismissed it like that. All right, fine. IAEA, the atomic agency which monitors the development, has always been giving a clean record for Iran, saying that they didn't have evidence. Of course, enrichment is reaching these levels and that levels. I do not know what is if this level and then you go to weapons or not. But let's take Iran's argument that it is developing this because there is no reason why an independent country like Iran cannot develop nuclear technology to a level which will benefit the nation.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I mean should not be a problem. You see? Okay. Now let's come to what has happened after the war. I mean, the attack on Iran and the nuclear sites and all. Now Iran has signaled its opposition to the IAEA inspections, and they don't want to have anything to do with IAEA, and it looks like they are going to go away from this this monitoring thing and all that, no more, because they find that when they played by the rules of the game, they got gamed. They got attacked. They were going by the rules. Israel was not going by any rule.
Yeah.
Israel is a nuclear power. It has all the things. It is not a signatory. No IAEA inspection. Nothing. Nobody touches it. Nobody talks about it. Nobody says it is wrong. It's not a crime.
It's very
but
unfair.
when Iran does it, a bit of uranium enrichment. That's wrong. It shouldn't be, and this and that and everything. So Iran has a right now to do what it wants to do. And if it were to develop a nuclear weapon or nuclear bomb, I think that would be a deterrent. I think at the back of its mind, it will say, now why not? We just have one bomb that will deter Israel from
Attacking them.
getting into any misadventure with us.
Ah.
So we have got a bomb. If you try to be, then you know what. So it could be. It could be. I'm not saying that they should do it or they should not or whatever. But look at the rationale of the whole thing. The rationale of the whole thing is, well, now that you have pushed us to the corner. You have pushed us to the corner. We were playing by the game. We were playing by the rules of the game.
Yeah.
And what did we get? We got this. So what do you expect us to do? So now we are not going to follow the rules of the game. Because if we follow the rules of the game, we still get to this point. Now we got no choice. We have to leave all this. Because the whole thing is stacked against us. There's no justice for us.
Okay.
So Iran has a point there.
And to think about it, it's very crazy to think that other countries can do it, but why can't them? In developing the nuclear, so what actually dictates on countries that can develop and what countries cannot develop? So why does it has to be through the lens of from their countries through the lens of Western societies? It is very unfair. And as we are reaching the end of this conversation, I would like to end with about the Trump itself, Doctor. Historically, war has had a negative impact on United States presidents' approval ratings. If you still remember in our conversation in, I think, last year, right? Last year in our conversation about Trump's winning, a part of the factor on his winning where he promised that he will bring peace to the Middle Eastern countries. So here now it comes on the president's approval rating. So for example, in Donald Trump's popularity after the war with Iran, right? His popularity fell compared to in other of his previous conflicts, if I'm not mistaken, down to 41%, which is so much lesser than it was previously before. So given that a large portion of his base supported him for promising to end all of these wars, how might this latest conflict with Iran affect his chances in upcoming US election?
That is why, because that is a promise that he made. What he made during his campaign was he will end the forever wars, which the U.S. was very famous for.
Yes.
Overseas wars. These are overseas wars, which had got nothing to do with, which should not help in any way the U.S. It was just a drain on its resources and things like that. So. This, of course, when it comes to the Middle East, he was a little bit. I mean, and this is a bit difficult. I do not know whether it was a miscalculation or what, but this was something which he had to face, because on the one hand, he didn't want war. Of course, he wanted to stop any conflict in the Middle East. But when you're in the Middle East, you have to deal with Israel. Israel is of course what it wants. You have to fulfill its needs. I mean, the U.S. has to fulfill what it has to Israel.
Yes.
So if it is going to go to war, if it's going to do this and going to do that, things like this, well, then that's like a predicament for for Trump himself. But of course, he didn't. In the case of Iran, he didn't go into a full-scale war. He didn't go into a full-scale war.
It's not full-scale war. Okay.
He went into the war just for a few hours to bomb, and that was it. Done. So it has affected his ratings, of course, because of his promise. But I think this will come to pass after some time, because he's not continuing anything like that. So, and he's pushing right now, even Gaza. The latest development is, of course, he's pushing for a ceasefire.
Yes.
But of course, when it comes to Gaza,
It's another story.
You are dealing with Israel direct policy on occupied territories. In the occupied territories, Israel dictates everything, A to Z. It's not America. America is not able to do anything much in that case. So, if it is going to be I doubt the ceasefire will be a ceasefire. It's not a lasting ceasefire. It is just for 60 days ceasefire and things like that. I mean, this is just nothing much,
Not
to expect.
significant.
So that's how it is going to be. But that's one. But as far as the United States is concerned, under Trump, I think he doesn't want to prolong U.S. involvement in an open conflict. Of course, the backing for Israel goes on. I mean, that relationship, U.S.-Israel relationship, they call it a special relationship. Any other relationship can be, even the closeness which he had with the other white European countries is under question. He can lambast and he can just criticize any leader, Canadian prime minister, or whether any other country, but not Israel. So we know what it is like.
The special relationship.
That's the situation.
And that brings us to the end of this discussion, and we have covered a lot in this about its I would say aim, and then the impact that it will have, especially to the future. And today's warplanes, drones and missiles may fly over Iran and Gaza, but their shockwaves felt across every heart that believes in justice. So when Muslim lands are attacked under false pretexts, whether it's Palestine, Iraq, Iran, decisions their war, it also become ours too. And it is our responsibility that we need to understand it, we need to speak against it, and also our responsibility to act upon it. And with that being said, Doctor, I would like to thank you for your sharing on today's conversation, Iran versus Israel, their war or ours too. And to our listeners, thank you very much for listening to us. If you have any questions that you would like to ask, or even would like to share your thoughts on today's conversation, you can leave it on the comment section of this posting on Facebook and YouTube, or you can simply contact us through our WhatsApp contact at 011-29004-004. And again, Doctor, thank you very much for your sharing on today's conversation. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullah.